Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan Chat. Well, another day, and it looks like another midfielder is going to be leaving City. So we wake up to news that Fabian Delph is reportedly just about to finalise the deal to move not too far away, just down the East Lancs Road to Everton. Now, the fee is rumoured to be £8.5 million, with about £1.5 million of add-ons, bonuses, whatever you want to call them. So the overall package could be £10 million in total. I'll say up front, that's quite cheap. It's quite cheap for a player who's 29 years old and he's part of the England squad. And he was part of the England World Cup squad, part of the England Nations League squad just this summer. And 29 years old. I think it's a very, very good price that Everton are paying. So we kind of all knew this was coming. It was on the cards. It was reported that Delph had already cleaned out his locker at City, and it's just really where he was going to go and how much it was going to be. Now, I want to look back a little bit at what Delph's career, what he's done at City, and why he's going to move on, and what Everton are going to get. Now, Delph is a Yorkshire lad, I think from Bradford, and 11 years old. I think he signed to play with Leeds as a kid. I think he made his debut for Leeds, but he did most of his playing at Aston Villa several seasons before he came to Man City in 2015. There's a little bit of furore over his move where he said he wouldn't be leaving Villa, and he'd stay there to captain them the following season. I think 6 days later he'd come to City, and at the time, look, can you blame him from a football point of view? Besides, he was going to get a shed load more money, more than likely. He was coming to a club that had won the league title a couple of times in recent times. By 2015, he's coming to a club that had won the FA Cup and a couple of League Cups. So in the last 4 or 5 seasons, City had won 5 trophies. So he was coming to a club that was going places, still on an upward trajectory, and still the most likely to win trophies. So from a footballing standpoint and a financial standpoint, it was kind of a no-brainer. I can see why some of the Villa fans were unhappy with him, but hey, he's got a career, he's got a life, and he's got to do the best he can for it at times. And so he came to City. Now, let's look what his roles are at City. I think he came as a midfielder, pretty much. That's what he was here for. But in 2017, what happened? Ben Mendy, fantastic talent, fabulous going forward, but injury prone. Now, he injured himself, and Fabian Delph was deployed as a makeshift left back. And in that Centurion season, 2017-2018, you can't knock him. You absolutely can't knock him for the effort he put in and what he helped us to achieve. Now, in that season, he played 22 league games. That's 22 out of 38, a lot more than half. I think he had some injury problems, but he acquitted himself very, very well indeed. Yes, he made some mistakes, some positional errors, but that's only natural because, hey, guess what? He's not a left back. He was deployed there as a makeshift left back because we were struggling at the time. So can't really blame him too much for the mistakes he made. But excuse me, overall, he played really, really well. He did what we needed to do. And I said many times, it also helps when City have more than 60% of the ball. Last season we had 65% possession, and that was the stats. Now, when you've got that much possession, the defenders generally have less work to do. So that obviously helped Fabian Delph get into that left-back slot and perform adequately, or more than adequately. So in that season, he won, in the Centurion season, 22 league games, and he played 29 games in total, winning Premier League title and the Carabao Cup. So it's not a bad return for him. Following season, which was last season, he wasn't featured as much. We had more from Zinchenko, a little bit from Mendy again at the start of the season. Normal for Mendy. Good few games at the start of the season. Gets injured. Season's pretty much finished. So Delph got a few games again, but last season I think he blotted his copybook a few times. It was a rash sending off. It was his fault. When we needed him, we really needed him. And you can't, and also some mistakes. The mistakes were creeping in again, and I think this time they were more costly. mistake against Spurs, I think, in the Champions League, got down at their place, and that proved costly. And Zinchenko came more to the fore and played more, I think, than Delph. So last season, Delph only featured in 11 league games. In total, he played 20 games. Still not a bad return, but we played 61 games. And in 4 seasons at City, Delph has played 89 games in total. That's just over 22 and a half games each season. But that's across all competitions. And City, across all competitions, would have played the best part of 240 games, probably nearer to somewhere between 230 and 240. And Delph's played 89, so he's looking at just over a quarter of games. You'd expect someone who's first team choice to be someone around the 40 games in total level. Someone like Emerick Laporte, 41 games out of 61. So Delph's league time was getting curtailed. He played a few games in the Champions League, about half a dozen, I think. And then the rest of his time was made up with a few games like in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. And going forwards, Delph has very little future. Let's be quite honest about it. The two positions that Delph could take, you've got that defensive midfielder role, okay? We've got Rodri. We just bought Rodri. We paid 62.5 million quid for the guy. So he's going to be above Delph in the pecking order. We've got Fernandinho, first choice at the moment, so he's well above him. You've even got Ilkay Gundogan. Unless you want to play a really defensive midfielder, then Ilkay Gundogan can play that role too, as a slightly more attacking defensive midfielder. So Delph would be 4th choice. At left back, which he adapted to, you've got Ben Mendy coming back, so he should be number 1. You've got Angelino, who we've signed, and you've got Zinchenko, another makeshift left back, but better than Delph. I think he's adapted better to it. So you've already got 3 players above Delph there. So Delph would be 4th choice left back too. And I believe if Danilo stays, he hasn't gone yet. If Danilo stays, he's above Delph in the pecking order, and I'd have him above Delph at defensive midfield and left back. So Delph really, let's be quite honest, he's got no very slim future at City. I remember last season, 11 league games, and that's without Mendy for most of the season. And Danilo was injured a fair bit as well. So if they're both fit and Danilo stays, what chances has Delph got, as I said, with Zinchenko and Angelino above him in the pecking order? So I don't see his future there at City. Yes, we'll miss out on that homegrown player. He's a homegrown player, but your squad doesn't need to have these homegrown players. You can survive without them. And we've got a few kids as well who are more than good enough. Angelina counts as homegrown. So we lose one homegrown, we replace them with another. So it's not that big a loss in terms of the homegrown status to City. So what are Everton getting? Well, obviously they're getting a 29-year-old. He's only 29. Some people forget that. A 29-year-old current England international who's a homegrown player. So he's going to help in that regard. It's better potentially for them than getting a foreign player, a non-homegrown player. It's reported Delph's on about 80 grand a week. That actually helps City get rid of that wages, and that probably goes to pay Rodri. But what are Everton getting again? So they're getting this player, as I said, 29 years old, homegrown talent, and he's a whichever way you want to look at it, he's a bit of a winner. Look at what he's done at City in the time he's been at City. In the 4 years at City, he's got the 2 league titles under Pep. Even just in the last 2 years, 2 league titles, 2 Carabao Cups, 1 FA Cup, the Community Shield, and I think he came in the last season of Manuel Pellegrini. So we won the Carabao Cup that season too. So he's got a few trophies under his belt. As I said, he's still good enough to play international football. The money they're paying is peanuts. Come on, let's be honest. It's absolute peanuts. This might be, for Everton, they've got, a couple of players who look like they want to move on. It's Paris Saint-Germain were after that. Was it Idrissa Gueye last season? So they might have somebody that moves on, and Delph it's a very cheap alternative. You sell someone for 30 million, get Delph in for 8.5, 9 million quid. It's a very cheap alternative. And the manager of Everton, Marco Silva, and the director of football, Marcel Brands, they believe that Delph provides experience and leadership in the centre of midfield at a bargain price. And as I said, it is a bargain price. I mean, can you think if someone was coming, a 29-year-old, multiple trophy winner in the last 2 seasons, played, in those 2 seasons, he's played 33 league games, so he's played a decent number of the league games in those 2 seasons. Yes, he's got slight injury worries, but he's won all those trophies, got that leadership. He's not costing you much money at all. I mean, it really should be costing, I thought he was going to go for at least 15, 16 million quid. That's, what I believe is a better price, because he's 29. He could be playing at that central midfield role for the next 4, 5, 6 years at a decent level. Look at Gareth Barry, and he played to his mid to late 30s at a very decent level at Everton. So why can't Delph do the same? And as I said, he's still in the prime. Some Everton fans are looking at this and saying, and they're very underwhelmed with this transfer. They say, we've got all this money, got all this backing. How can we buy someone like Fabian Delph? Okay, he's not an exciting player. But then others look at it in the same way Marco Silva and Marcel Brands look at it and say, he'll provide you with leadership. He'll provide you with experience, and he's a winner. How many winners have Everton got in their squad? Let's be quite honest about it. Let's look back. Who they got? Theo Walcott won a few FA Cups at Arsenal. How many other winners have they got? Proven winners who've actually won stuff for over 3 or 4 years. As I said, Delph off the top of my head has won that 2 league titles, 3 Carabao Cups, an FA Cup, and a Community Shield. He's been at City while we've won those. Forget the Community Shield, but he's been at City for 4 years whilst we've won 6 trophies. Okay, 6 decent domestic trophies. He's been part of that Centurion season, a major part of that Centurion season. He's been part of a 98-point season. Yeah. So Everton, some of the fans look at it and say, look, sometimes you need that less flamboyant player, the guy who's going to carry the water, so to speak, the guy who's going to just do the simple things and do them well, not, create lots of goals, not score lots of goals, but he's going to be a solid player who's going to give you, say, a 7 out of 10 every single week, okay? At City, his time was numbered, his days were numbered. He's not good enough for City for what we want to achieve now. I don't believe that. And we've got better players in the positions that he covered. At Everton, for what they want to achieve next, I actually think he is good enough. And I think he'll do them well. Just got to keep him fit and get him to stop diving in a little bit recklessly. And I think at Everton have got a very versatile player. As I said, he'll cover in at left back. He'll cover in at centre midfield. What more do you want for 8.5 million quid? 29-year-old England international, homegrown player. I think they're on to a winner there. And yeah, I can see him helping Everton. Don't know what Everton are going to achieve this season. I haven't looked too much into them, but yeah, top 8 would be good, or even a little bit higher. And I think Delph can help them achieve that and give them that a little bit of stability and consistency in the league that sometimes I think they've been lacking in the last 2 seasons. So guys, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we're almost at 700 subscribers in only 35 days. It's been a fantastic roller coaster ride. Some ups, mostly ups, a few downs, but mostly we're on an upward trajectory. We're really pushing to get those 1,000 subscribers as soon as we can. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and you like the videos, click like, it's always nice, and hit the bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. See you around, Blues.